Good morning, Morai v'Rabotai, Bruchim Habayim. Welcome everyone. We are continuing on Masechet Makkot, and we are on the very last line of Yud, Amud Aleph, by the two dots. Tana, Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov. Today's Amud is being learned. L'schut rufa shel Mav Sara bat Mina, and Binyamin Eliezer Kohen ben Malka Zivug for Gilhad ben Mordechai Ariel. Healthy delivery for Talia bat Rivka. Daat and Parnasah for Abraham Raphael. This week's learnings of the Keilah has been dedicated by the Dayan family, by Kohen family, by Shei family. Should be ultimate schut for their families as well. And today's Amud has specifically been sponsored and dedicated for Refuah Shelema Rachel Simcha Bat Nahit, that should have full recovery. Refuah Shelema Amen. So the Mishnah told us, umechuvanot lahem derachim, that the Arei Miklat, the 6 of them with an additional 42, they had pathways from each one of the cities to Arei Miklat that were surrounding them. So you had just imagine in your minds, lots and lots of roads have been made going to Arei Miklat. Now, that makes it like a maze. It's a beautiful thing. Yisraeli is not a very large country as a whole. And imagine 48 minus 3, 45 cities inside the Eretz Yisrael Premier is going to be Arei Miklat, cities of refuge. And of course, there are many other small cities. So you have a lot of roads going around. So it says, the Gemara Tanya, we learned in Braita in the name of Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, Omer, Miklat haya katuv al parashat derachim. Every fork on the way that you had came with signage pointing to which one is going to be Arei Miklat. You don't want anyone to be standing on the way, wandering because they don't have reception for the GPS, wondering exactly which way is Arei Miklat. Because in that few moments, until he finds somebody to ask, the Goel Adam could come and kill him. Every second counts. It's part and parcel of facilitating the Arei Miklat to be, safe zones and be able to save the life of the Rotzeach from Goel Adam. Part of that sanctuary city is that you have signage to the sanctuary city from everywhere that could be made a mistake. So every fork on the way had, direction signs, this way to Ir Miklat. So says the Gemara, Kedesh Yakira Rotzeach ve'ifnei lesham. That you should understand, you should know, and you should go there. Amar Rav Kana. Rav Kana said, Rav Huna, Mikra. Where do you see this in the pasuk? Because it says Tachin lecha haderech. The pasuk that talks about Arei Miklat, it speaks about preparation of the pathway towards the Ir Miklat. Tachin lecha haderech v'shilashta et givul artzecha asher yanchilcha Hashem Elokecha v'haya lanu shama kol rotzeach. Part of that is the preparation of the pathway, which the Gemara says the preparation of pathway means, of course, you have to have pathways going from every city to Arei Miklat, but also part of the hachana is that every few hundred feet you have a sign. This way, Arei Miklat. You get by every fork, it's a direction clearly indicated which one of the pathways goes to Arei Miklat. Says the Gemara. Aseh lecha hachana lederech. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu's directive that you should make hachana, a preparation for the derech, for the pathway. Rav Chava bar Chanina patach la pitcha lehai parashata mehacha. Rav Chava bar Chanina, every time that he spoke about this parasha of Rotzeach b'Shogeg, of the Arei Miklat, he would speak, the Gemara says that a person that gives a shiur, especially a drasha to the Hamon, you have to speak with something that is interesting. You have to catch their attention in the first few seconds, first few minutes. So it says when our Rava would start with the Milta de Bedichuta, it would start with a humorous beginning, this way you had everybody. At the time that everyone finished laughing, they were engaged already. Now you could talk about the shiur. The Darshanim used to say something of agadic nature before they got into the details of Rotzeach B'Shogeg and Arei Miklat and yes, Karov LeMezid, yes, Karov LeShogeg. That's how they started. So says Rav Chaim Chanina, whenever he started speaking about this parasha, which is a very technical parasha, many of these things don't even apply nowadays. If you take a look at the Rif doesn't even have anything on the second parak of Makkot, because Rif, unlike Rambam, only brought things that are applicable nowadays that we don't have the Beit HaMikdash. And second parak of Makkot is all Hilchat Limshicha. It's all talking about, when you have the Beit HaMikdash and you have Arei Miklat and you have Galut, that's how you do it. When you have Betin and you could have Edim on a Rotzeach B'Shogeg or B'Mezid. Rif only has like 2.5, 3 lines. And that is the Gemara that we just did actually, that a person that goes to Galut, you send his Rebbe with him to Galut as well. Why is that relevant? Because it tells you cannot learn from everybody. You have to be, a Rebbe. You can't just say, if Arei Miklat is full of rabbis, and let the guy go there. It means that your Rebbe is your Rebbe for life, right? It's not something that you could say, okay, today I'll learn from him, tomorrow from a different person. If you click with this person, stick to them. Just like we spoke about what the Pleyoetz writes in Orot Elima Masechet Brachot. If you have a good chavruta, you pay all the money in the world to keep that chavruta, because it's very rare to find somebody that you could actually learn with and click with and vibe with and grow together. So that's one. And also secondly, it tells you that you have to be careful how you choose your talmidim, because it could become very quickly a liability from an asset. So that's what the 2 lines of the Rif in Masechet Makkot. But nevertheless, this concept that you start with something of a godic nature, Rav Chaim Bar Chanina would start with this. Tov v'yashar Hashem, al ken yoreh hatayim b'darech. Hashem is good, and therefore He directs even the sinners, the chatayim, in a proper path. So he would say, you see from here, that yoreh hatayim b'darech, that these are sinners. Right? The person that, even though that he killed B'Shogeg, he killed accidentally, as we mentioned before, a person does not get to do a sin, even B'Shogeg, if they are completely pure. Right? So, Hashem brings sins in the hand of somebody that is not 100% pure. If you're completely pure, Hashem would not even bring an accidental sin to your hand. So this chet means what? Chet b'shogeg. There's 3 levels of sin. There's chet, avon, pesha. Chet means when you accidentally b'shogeg do an avera, not intentional. Avon means it is intentional. You realize that you're doing something wrong, but you can't control yourself. You have too much desire, too much tava. That's avon. And then you have mezid in a higher level, which is pesha, that you don't really care. It's not that you really need to do it, you can't control yourself, you just don't care. Right? That's the highest level. So, yoreh hatayim b'darech means even people who are accidental sinners, like a rotzeach b'shogeg, someone that accidentally killed somebody, Hashem guides them on the path. Right? This is the path to a sanctuary, path to a safe city, safe zone. And Hashem created direction for them to quickly get there and save their lives. So says the Gemara, Im lachatayim yoreh kal vachomer letzadikim. If Hashem, for sinners, is willing to guide them on the right path, imagine what HaKadosh Baruch Hu does for tzadikim. It's even a higher level. Now, the Aruch Laner writes that he's reading it in the parasha, right? Tov v'yashar Hashem. Hashem is good to the tzaddikim. How do I know Hashem is so good? Because, yoreh hatayim b'darech. Because you see, even for chatayim, even for someone that's a sinner, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives them a direct path to safety. So you see, if Hashem gives so much good to these sinners, how much more so midat tova merubah, that He's going to be there for tzaddikim. Now, Resh Lakish, Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish, patach lai parashat le'acha. He opened petach for his drasha and this parasha of Rotzeach B'Shogeg and Masechet Makkot from here. Ve'asher lo sada, ve'ha'elohim inna leyado, ve'samti lecha makom. The pasuk says, again, speaking about a Rotzeach B'Shogeg, ve'asher lo sada, someone that didn't have an intent to kill. Ve'ha'elohim inna leyado, and Hashem brought it to his hands. V'samti lecha makom asher yanus shama. I will put a place of sanctuary, of safety for you, that he should run there, aka Are Miklat, right? By the way, this is one of the famous Rashi Tevot of Elul, right? V'asher lo sada ve'elokim ina leyado v'samti lecha spells out Elul, right? It's one of the three major Rashi Tevot, because again, this is Elul becomes a sanctuary when you're now not that far from Elul again. You know, it's a sanctuary that you run to slichot, you run to the concept of tshuva, but this is for someone that is Rotzeach B'Shogeg. Says the Gemara, Kasher Yomar Mashal HaKadmoni. Resh Lakish used to explain this in his opening drasha, like the parable, the Mashal HaKadmoni. HaKadmoni means from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, who's Kadmono Shel Olam. The pasuk actually gives a beautiful explanation of this. Mereshaim yetzer resha, that pasuk says, from reshaim from wicked people comes wickedness. So what does that mean exactly? This is a pasuk in Shmuel Aleph. It says, Kasher yomar meshal hakadmoni mereshaim yetzer resha veyadi lo tihye bach. So what does that mean exactly? So says Resh Lakish, let me explain to you. What is this pasuk speaking about? That from wicked people, wickedness spreads out. What does that exactly mean? So listen to this. We referenced this Gemara a few shurim ago in the last daf in the Gemara, when we spoke about why it is that in Gilad and also in Shechem, the Shevet of Reuven, and also in the central area of Eretz Yisrael in Shechem, you had to have a lot of Arei Miklat available, because there are a lot of rotzchim, a lot of murderers in those cities. And we mentioned that, murderers are bemezid. Those are like deliberate homicide. What does it have to do with Arei Miklat, right? So if you remember, we gave 3 answers, and the third one was based on this Gemara, so we prefaced this Gemara before, now we're going to actually learn it. What is pasuk speaking about? 2 people who murdered someone. One of them killed someone accidentally, but there are no edim, right? He accidentally killed someone, but nobody was there, and the guy really had to go to Arei Miklat. That's his halacha. But since nobody was there, right, he just packed his backpack and went home. Right? And the second guy deliberately killed someone, a sniper, right? He mamash deliberately killed someone. And he also didn't have any edim, right? So he walked off into his normal life. Nobody realized that he deliberately killed somebody. So what happens? Now there's a Gemara. You'll appreciate this more when you realize the Gemara actually says this directly in Masechet Sanhedrin Daf Lamed Zayin Amud Bet, I believe it is. Gemara says, even though that nowadays Arba Mitot Betin Batilu, we don't have no longer the punishments of the Betin. We don't have a Sanhedrin of Ayin Aleph. We can't deliver the death penalty and so on. We don't have those punishments, that's mentioned in the Torah, delivered, because we don't have a Beit HaMikdash. We don't have even the time of the end period of the Beit HaMikdash. The Sanhedrin removed themselves, as we learned earlier on, from Lishkat HaGazid, not to deal with death penalty. But says the Gemara, Din Arba Mitot Lo Batil. Says the Din of Arba Mitot still is there. The only difference is, now the ultimate judge is delivering the punishments. So it says the Gemara, somebody that deserves to get skila, right? He goes hiking and he falls off the cliff, and boom, There's your skila. Or nowadays gets into a car crash, and that's your skila. And Gemara says serafah gets into a fire. If aridor, so all kinds of different untimely death, which you think oy vey vavoy, what happened to him, but really up there HaKadosh Baruch Hu is pulling the strings of Arba Mitot Bedin, because he still is governing his world. He still is running his garden. So that's what the Gemara says over there. Actually, this is, again, we mentioned this, that Rabbi Moshe Feinstein was asked by I think it was the mayor of New York City, was asked by the president as well at some point, that to explain death penalty in Judaism, because that was at that time that was like a hot thing. Some states did, some states didn't, and whether to have it or not to have it. And Moshe Feinstein says we don't believe that we are the carriers of the judgment of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's why he brings the Mishnah in Makkot earlier on of a bedin that would kill even in 1 in 70 years would be considered katlanit. And Rav Moshe Feinstein says, why? You don't think anybody deserved to die once in 70 years? Of course they did. But we don't, if we have the slightest safek, we don't do it. The din is only there for people to know the severity of the transgressions. But ultimately, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's governing his world, even in the time of the Beit HaMikdash. Certainly, says the Gemara, when you don't have Arba Mitot Bedin, Hashem is still doing what he is supposed to do. So now, the second part of that Gemara in Sanhedrin is this Gemara in Makkot, Yud Amud Bet. What the Gemara says, so these two people killed someone, no edim. What happens? Beautiful. They find a sale price in a hotel somewhere, and they both travel to that place because it's half the price, right? So they're in the hotel. What happens is, take a look. Both of them, nobody was there to witness. HaKadosh Baruch Hu mazminal lepundak echad. Hashem brings them to the same hotel, right? And what happens is, one of them goes on top of the ladder, the other one is on the bottom of the ladder. Echad ze sha'arak b'mezid yoshev tachat hasulam. The one that killed someone deliberately is sitting down next to the pool, taking a suntan, and the other one is on top of the roof. And the other one that accidentally killed someone now is coming down the ladder, and he falls on the guy on the bottom and kills him. So what happened? The guy that was supposed to die because he killed someone deliberately got killed. The one that was supposed to go to Galut because he killed someone accidentally, now in front of the eyes of people, he killed someone accidentally, and he finally goes to Galut as he deserved. So that's, says the Gemara said Resh Lakish, that is what the Pasuk is saying, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's Mashal HaKadmoni, Mireshaim Yetzer Resha. That a person, when he is chayav, megalgerin chova al yidei chayav, HaKadosh Baruch Hu brings that to his hand in a way that now would be actually actionable, so to speak, and he will go to Galut. So says the Gemara, Zeh sha'arak b'mezid nerag, the one that killed deliberately got killed, v'zeh sha'arak b'shogeg gole, and the other one that was supposed to go to Galut, now he's going to Galut. First white line. Amar Rabba bar Rav Huna, Amar Rav Huna. Rabbi Rav Huna said in the name of Rav Huna, Ve'amri la Amar Rav Huna, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Mina Torah u'min ha'nevi'im u'ha'ketuvim. You see from the Pesukim in the Torah itself, in the Nevi'im, and in the Ketuvim, b'derech sh'adam rotzeh lelech bah molichin oto. When you want to do something, HaKadosh Baruch Hu lets you do it. He opens the ways for you to be able to do that which you desire to do. Right? So important for a person to want to do the right thing, because when you want even the wrong things, there's a limit. HaKadosh Baruch Hu may give you signs, but at some point Hashem just opens the way. So you want to go. B'chavod. The desire of a neshama of a Jew, or any person for that matter, it is so powerful that when you desire something, they open the ways for you on that thing. So you got to be careful to desire the right things.
Doesn't this contradict the previous God guides sinners on the way? I mean, when God guides sinners on the way, isn't that trying to direct the sinner to the right path?
Yes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Tov v'yashar Hashem, al ken yorech hata'im b'darech. That's HaKadosh Baruch Hu without you interfering with it. But if you say, no, I want to do the wrong thing, right? What's the good example? For that, Bil'am, right? Bilam, HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells him, don't go with them. I'm telling you, don't go with them. Right? And what does he do? He desires to go. He says, maybe Hashem doesn't let me go with you because you're not chashuv enough. Like, wait at the night, another night, let me see, maybe Hashem will change his mind. What is he thinking? He's chalashing inside that Hashem should let him go. So what does Hashem say? Go, fine. Kum lechitam. Get up and go with them. But don't say anything bad. Right? So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu let him open the way for him to do what he wanted to do. And despite the zchuyot of Am Yisrael, right, you have a malach standing in front of him, once and twice and 3 times. By the end of the day, when he asks the malach, he says, do you want me to go back? He says, no, go. What do you mean? Yeah, because we're not going to stop you. If you really desire to do something bad, HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens the way for you. It's a scary thought, but it's also very powerful because you see, so the second pasuk in Navi over here, that for the good also is the same way. When a person really, really wants something, really desires something, Hashem gives it either to him or to his children. Really want to become a Talmid Chacham. You either become a Talmid Chacham yourself, if you push out, Hashem gives you sons that Talmid Chachamim. He gives you son-in-laws that are Talmid Chachamim. The desire of a Jewish neshama, of a soul is so strong that when a person really wants something, but Hashem leaves the way for you to go. So let's take a look at the psukim. Actually, I already said one of them earlier on. So now let's see. Says the Gemara, Min Torah dichtiv lo telech imahem. By the Torah it says by Bilam, don't go with them. Right? Uchtiv kum lechitam. And then he says, go with them. Now, once we add it, I want to say something very, very powerful, beautiful. There's a difference between lech imahem, right? Lo telech imahem, and kum lech itam. Because there is a question to be asked once we're at this parasha, a question everyone should ask when you read the parashiyot of Bilam. Hashem tells him, don't go with them. Then he desires to go. Hashem says, okay, kum lech itam, go with them. And then, in the morning, when he actually goes with them, Hashem gets very angry with him. So you just told him to go with them. How can you get angry with him? So the difference is that there is a chiluk mashma'uti. It's a clear difference between lech imahem and lech itam. Lech imahem means imo is always with a person with the same mindset in unison. Itam means physically with them, but minds are different. Like you happen to be on the same plane, you're going together, but you're going for this, he's going for that. It's completely different mindsets. So Hashem tells him originally, don't go with them. Then he says, okay, you want to go? I don't want you to even physically go, but fine. Go with them, but not intending to curse. And when he says in the morning, he went with them, he says, he went with them with the mindset of cursing. And that's how HaKadosh Baruch Hu got disappointed with him because he was trying to change Hashem's will. But nevertheless, Hashem let him go, even though that initially he did not want him to go even physically with them. You see, when a person wants to do something, Hashem opens the way and lets them go. So says the Gemara, that's from the Torah. From the Navi, you see, because it says, Ani Hashem Elokecha melamedcha leho'il madrichecha b'derech zu telech. So I am Hashem that teaches you how to do a madrichecha b'derech telech, and I guide you in the way that you go. Why do you have to say madrichecha b'derech telech? Any path that you choose to go, I will walk you through it. Which is a powerful thing. You gotta choose it, I'll push it. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I will walk you through the path that you go on. From the Ketuvim you see, because dichtiv im laletzim hu yalitz v'la'anavim yiten chen. If you want to be a letz, if you want to be a joker, a mocker, a lowlife, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will let you be. Hu yalitz. Hashem will also do it in that way. Deal with you the same way. V'la'anavim yiten chen. So you see from Torah, from Nevi'im and Ketuvim, that a path that a person chooses is going to be the path that they're going to go on. And now we're going to have a discussion, a fascinating discussion, which is going to lead us to understand what's going to happen if actually the Goel Hadam killed the guy in Ir Miklat. So we have been saying so far that it's a sanctuary, it's a safe city, right? What happens, but then we also learned that you make the city safe in ways that even if the Goel Hadam wants to kill him, he should not be really assisted. There's no gun stores, there are no ropes, stretched. Nothing that he could use to kill somebody else is available in Arei Miklat. Now, what if he actually killed him? So you'll see in the Gemara a surprising machloket that there is a man d'amar that holds that you are patur. That Goel Hadam, even in Arei Miklat, if he killed him, he's patur. And now we'll also see later on that there is a man d'amar that for the Goel Hadam is a mitzvah to kill this guy, right? It's a mitzvah, like it's a mitzvah that's a deoraita. If you catch him beforehand and you kill him, hazaku baruch. You open your sidur, say good Lashem yichud kuchab brichu, and now you put your hat and jacket on and you go kill the guy. I guess that's it. So you have to now understand. Up until now, we have learned that killing this guy is a bad thing. We want to stop that from happening. Now the Gemara is going to open the discussion of what exactly is the halacha of Goel Hadam, which will maybe bring us even to a discussion of nowadays. What has changed? Is Goel Hadam dependent on Beit HaMikdash? Apparently not. So nowadays, if you are in some country that the law of the land is not necessarily something that you have to be concerned, is it really a mitzvah to go and or is it even a permissible thing to proceed and kill the guy yourself, doing your own judgment? That's something that has been actually discussed by the Rishonim and the Gedolei Achronim, which Bezrat Hashem will be discussing in the days to come.